And you hear the kids screaming, and Graham, is that you? It's all wonderful, I'm sure. And you have to live there. So you got two homes, have you not? It's just the realization that the outer, which your finite scientists would have you believe is real, it's the outer that isn't real. This is the contradiction, and you hear that all the time because you're not supported by the masses. And it's living in that thymus room that becomes more and more important. Not difficult, you can do it. It becomes a very natural impulse. If I drop this, I don't have to think about picking up. It's a natural impulse. I know I didn't drop it there. All right. Oh. How many... we talk about between the shoulder blades, and that's the heart chakra, is it not? Because we've talked about energies coming in the pineal node cannot handle. Pineal node was designed for this, but it was only designed for bringing in pranayama, solar energy, not the degree of radiation that comes in. You need radiation in order for the fusion. Do you understand? You need the fusion through radiation to blend the electron with the spiritual microtron. So we get very distressed when we have a Chernobyl, we have this, or we have that. As terrible as it was for the Japanese, it had to happen somewhere. But there is no death, and you're all impacted with death. You all believe in death. There are a few of you who don't. The hardest thing to demonstrate to man is the temporal nature, is that man does not die. I spent some time on the inner planes and become very clear that there is no death. I recommend those that plan on leaving in that way. I think most of you, if you stay the next few years, will know a different death. You'll either do what Brian did, go to sleep and leave, and his consciousness is gone, and the corporal body stays there. You will, some, depending on how they are coded, their DNA will raise up and not have a gravitational pull. That would be more six-dimensional or beyond. But there's no need, there is no death. The astrals, the three lower astrals, in the next 18, 19 months will not be there. So we do not need to destroy the earth to stop the bottlenecking. You see that, the significance of the three lower astrals not being there? The bottlenecking, beings a year ago on September 9th, 10th, and 11th, I understand, I'm sitting on the porch in Switzerland wondering how and what in the world is going on. Their desperate attempt to reconnect with Earth. This desperate plight for man not to know, and his absolute fixation on the sensual self. Why they would do this when most of them die impoverished, die miserable, terrible, terrible lives, and a vibration that's almost intolerable, wish to come back into. They didn't and don't know how to stop this. So when the three lower astral levels began to not function, and about a third were gone to a third dimensional series of planets in Sirius, The Pleiadians. The Pleiadians. So it's all seemingly cared for. There is no three lower chakras in the very, and there are no three lower astral levels in this new environment. This juggernaut, this planet of sorrows, needed desperate measures. This is where the source came in. Your planetary hierarchy doesn't know. They're not that highly enough evolved. They know now. And many of you are that hierarchy. What is a hierarchy? Those that govern. Who are the governors? These must be you. Yeah, but can't be me. I can't heal myself. Dog ate the kitten. I don't know. So do we understand the nature of Mahatma now? Call on Mahatma. Why call on Vaiwamas? Vaiwamas dwell, these beings step down the energy. If you're comfortable talking to Sananda or what, because these are famous people and they are people not greater than yourself. That's a gross misperspective. Is one of their stars brighter than yours? I don't think so. Some of you who have been famous are infinitely greater now because of this last contact with the greatest school in all of creation, planet Earth. And when you get, and that starts to sink in, you realize the significance of who and what you are and why you are here. So look to whomever you talk to on the inner planes, but realize that that is not the source. If you want the source of that information, it has to be stepped down, and it goes through many, 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 many levels of consciousness in what we call channeling. I want to do a little more clearing before I'm thrown off this table. Any really pressing group question, because this is not a 4-day seminar and I normally will not take questions in 3 days, but there's a couple of things that are think in terms of group and not whether your uncle has a bad leg. Aha. Oh, yes, you were. I was going to ask you. I said, put your hand. Oh, yes, yes, my friend. He shut off all his senses. He can't even hear anymore. Well, your guides are your guides are your guides, and I'm just answering that now. Connect with Mahatma. There need not be any intermediaries, and during the day you connect with the thymus. You connect with your own cosmic room, your own cosmic heart, and you can do this very easily. It sounds very complex. How do I live out there at the same time I'm living here? How do I drive a car? How do I listen to screaming children and still live here? I could facetiously say it's a good question, but I've done it, so if I can do it, anyone can. because I have a very, very active mind. So to answer your question, not facetiously, the answer to the question is guides. You know, you go beyond the astral guides the minute you become light. Your guides cease to be Chief Chickamauga from the Iroquois. That's good to earth out on, but it's not a high resonance. So you fashion yourself with yourself. The whole exploration is to connect with all levels of self. Not with somebody in the astrals who will tell you anything you want to hear or don't want to hear, and that thumping Henry is going to win the third race. It's not a Ouija board. It's yourself, my dear friend. I'm not picking on you. It's for all of you to reconnect with self. That's what I've been talking about for anyone that will listen to me. And it's very important. Seek not outside of self, become. Don't. There's no need to go to a psychic who's probably on the fourth astral level, which is better than the first, because the firsts are all gone. And be told that oh, I don't know. I see. But there's a beautiful Indian behind you with 6 feathers. And I want you to go home and look at those 6 feathers and tell me what they mean. You don't need that. It's guides are guides are guides. You are your own guides. And your primary goal is to be an extension, a proper extension of your primal soul. And when we do this now, where the 8th is no longer needed, and this is why I'm talking to you long enough so that you can breathe and be worked on. Nothing is done in the sense of, well, what's he going on so much for? Because all open yourselves now, because you're being worked on in preparation to do what we're going to be doing for the balance of the day. And how is it done? It's done through processes, done through realization, done through a certain amount of knowledge, but always vibration. And we have a very, very, very heightened vibration in this room. Well, let's find our centers, gentle ones. Try to remember what was said. You'll get the tapes and you will hear what was said in the significance of living in the now. I'm going to work for a little bit with all of you now on the emotional confinement. It's reacting differently with all of you. And I really want us to be very, very clear before we anchor these 12 chakras within what we view as the physical nature. And we address all of it now, please. That magnificent channel that you create from your source star into the earth. Yesterday, I would like to have that shown to us now. Know that you have the help. Start to breathe in those properties that are you. Do not talk of anything less than the wholeness of yourself, for that's not worthy of you. Become all that is. And from this magnificent earth that is so benefited by your efforts, breathe her in through the base. Know that the 3 lower chakras are still in the thymus room. And that's where they will remain as we cleanse, purify, and make ready for the chakra shifts and for the implementation of spiritualizing matter. There's a wonderful, incredibly brilliant light coming in now from source to earth to source, please. And it's one of those indigo blues. It's one of wisdom. One of wisdom, please. Up and down. Up and down. Take a disc and broaden your channel. Some of you are closing it off a little. Broader and broader and broader and broader. Use a disc, a vertebrae, a vertebra. Up and down. And again, from last night to now, I see a lot has come up for the emotional body, the mental body. Breathe deeply, gentle ones. Up and down, and breathe all extraneous material out, 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 out. It isn't a time to be conscious of what your neighbor is doing. It's too important because we are our own neighbors and we are one. Concentrate very, very clearly on the light that you are becoming. Very clear, gentle ones, very, very clear as we breathe out that which we cannot carry into these other dimensions, these other levels of consciousness. And realize and say after me, I recognize the fact that we are multi-dimensional vehicles and we're not limited to a third-dimensional reality. I accept the fact that we can assist humankind in getting off this gridlock, this bottlenecking on Earth, and that is our foremost and foremost challenge, to help Creator to alleviate this terrible cancer. To have people move off the wheel and into other levels of evolution. I finally, irrevocably recognize that there is no death. We have 5 bodies. If the physical atomic body dies, it certainly leaves a physical etheric body. It's just of a finer density. I know what he speaks is true, that there is no death. And I have that resonate throughout my whole beingness now. There is no death. I have no fear of death. I'm comfortable within my own coding and my purpose at this time, in this place. I can begin to feel freedom. I don't understand everything he says, but I know the truths are there for me to assimilate. Love. The focus of a group this size in love is equal to billions and billions of beings with similar focus. So this is the greatest power on earth, groups like this, particularly 5th and 6th dimensionally. And I recognize this and I honor this, and I will become that property which will assist not just this earth, because there's an interconnectedness with all of creation, and I honor that. The earth does not stand alone as your finite scientists and your religions would have you believe. This nefarious God that's in this beard out in the clouds, the heavens seem to be clouds. Look out into the heavens and realize that this isn't even the beginning. And that all of you on your journey down on the outward breath helped with these creations. And at some level of yourself, you ask that you start to remember on a cellular level that intuitive connection, not to confuse you or muddy the waters with knowledge you really don't need, but to have you know that you are much greater than you yet know. So death is not an issue. I still have the etheric body, the mental body, which I carry with me now in the thymus. The emotional body we look at now very, very clearly. Look to the body of bodies, the etheric body, which is physical. Depending on what density you go into, 4th, 5th, or 6th, it has 3, 2, or 1 permanent atoms, making it physical. And those little candles that they use at ball games, please see this etheric body, every part of your body on the surface and slightly out the auric field is etheric. You don't travel with your astral body when you're going into the 4th, 5th, and 6th dimension. Your astral body is not required. So that's one body you don't need. At night you travel with your etheric body when you go beyond Shambhala into the galactic core for classes. And some of you teach, some of you are very specialized in areas you know not yet consciously. Above all, I recognize the wholeness of what the Mahatma, now that that energy can penetrate totally into this planet, what it really means. For it is androgynous, it is complete, it is one, and that I can count on. It is not out of balance. And as a mantra, it's the most powerful on earth at this time, is simply a resonance. A resonance. Everything, remember, is a resonance, a vibration. A vibration. And I'm prepared without fear to raise that vibration of the totality of who I am. Keep it anchored, of course, to assist the earth. I will anchor this great energy into this marvelous planet and help her wherever we can. And as for all intents and purposes, that will be what we view as eternity. For we're not separate. This channel, wherever there are glitches or wherever there is a slight bit of darkness now, I look to these areas and this cosmic heart becomes immense. It is very creative. I am becoming a creator of my own reality, and I know that I can heal now. It's just a little different. Thoughts are things, and I recognize that now, but I know it's a double-edged sword. If I am uncomfortable with something that I am watching and it becomes a part of my psyche, if it becomes a part of my life, I know to release it. If it's of a positive nature that is constructive. Not did O.J. Simpson murder that wife. The world has become so small, it's obsessed with one crime. With all the heinous misunderstandings on this planet, it's been reduced to O.J. Simpson. We step above that. We can live in that outer world and we can enjoy it as a soap opera, but it is not our reality. Our reality is very, very real, very, very wondrous, and it's love. It's called love, gentle ones, and you will have many, many feelings of this intuitive connection. And love eventually will become unconditional. And there's nothing that we experience that is greater than this union of unconditional love with ourselves. The union now with primal soul and higher self and oversoul monad. The 12 directors, and you see this beyond that into the undifferentiated source. And that's not the end of the journey. No one knows, certainly Brian doesn't know what's beyond the undifferentiated source. He knows there's more. So in this endless journey, you cannot have a discipline that says God's consciousness is static. Your consciousness as a God is not static. As a co-creator, it cannot be static. And I recognize that I am prepared to expand, to extend all of my beingness throughout all of creation. And I do not buy into limitation, into static gods that are out there. I do not buy into intermediaries, for that only impedes the intermediary and impedes my growth. God and I are one, and I recognize this, and it resonates throughout my cosmic being, throughout all of my cells. And I see those circles on that chart yesterday that radiate out, 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 and out, round and around and around. My body is not this corporal piece of atoms. It is much, much more. My consciousness is not confined to an inch beyond my astral. My consciousness is eternal. The flame is eternal. The knowledge that I crave is eternal. And there can be no intermediaries. I do stress this. Any teacher who says, I am the only way, you must know that that is a false teaching. Or that God is angry, it's a false teaching. The most benevolent of all is the God that we are. And that's the God we need to resurrect. And in truth, when you see that God, you will know how magnificent humankind are. And we can't see it in that outer world. It all looks so terrible. You find that within oneself, and that's what Maitreya the Christ tried to teach you. God is within. And look what we've done with it. This special few, and we have them around the earth now, there are several thousand now. The power is staggering. If some of you can get in, as some of you are, getting into the sixth dimension, you take the power to the to 480. You don't need many to affect change. 16, you can affect the world. 100, you can affect the cosmos. 200 is there out here, you affect all of creation. All of creation, gentle ones. Before you go for your break, really see yourself as that one. That pyramidal light grid you see, it's a limited perspective, but it's one you understand because you were there. And again, I bring in the Orion and the Sirius connection, but they burn as one. There is not a dynamic Orion any more than there is a dynamic Sirius, as one within the heart. Within the heart of hearts, we manifest as this group, and you can carry the power of this group throughout time and space, as we call it, and you can carry it into the next dimensions. Focus on this group, for it is extremely powerful. It is extremely powerful, gentle ones. Call on the group when you're in conflict, or when patterns come up for you, and they will. When you think, oh my God, what am I doing? What am I doing wrong? I haven't got Brian to talk to. Call on the group consciousness, please. Form it just as you see it in that pyramid. It's a very, very, very powerful. And if you look at the apex down into this room, you will see a huge light, a shaft of light that you have created. You've been assisted. But it is your motivation, your focus, your creativity that allows this to happen. Brian helps because he can raise the vibration. He knows how. But ultimately, it's you. You're wonderful. Stay within that heart, gentle ones, please. Some of you go to offices, some of you teach, some of you work here or there. But you'll find that connection with this thymus room, and there's nothing more magnificent than to know, I can light the fireplace. I can go within and become. For this is all there is. And I have my own cosmic heart. It's not less than the heart of hearts. That's the journey. No intermediaries, gentle ones. You are complete. You just haven't recognized it. And some of you are. And that pleases us very, very much. Gentle, gentle hearts. Align, see yourselves as this group which is so powerful, so helpful to all of creation. It will release the stranglehold on this little planet that is the juggernaut. It is the problem for this universe. It is the problem for this cosmic day. For you have over 7 billion souls that need to be released, to get off the wheel. And your private moments in small groups, please see that happening. Please see the bottleneck open and souls move on. The bottleneck is widened, widened, widened until all souls connect. Those who pray on this little planet have no idea that who are they praying to. They have not connected. The soul is not connected, it's disconnected. It's in the etheric body, the eighth chakra. There's no one to hear them. There is a connection with the etheric and the atomic body, but that must be understood. But for great association, bring in these soul levels and let them have your free will. For you are always an extension of the soul. You don't create the soul. This is this terrible misunderstanding here. You are an extension of your primal soul. The primal soul is an extension of the higher self, and all are extensions of the oversoul and the monad. That's the journey. And now on the in-breath, breathe in deeply, gentle ones, and visualize going home, taking the consciousness up to the source star, aligning this group, the apex, with the source now. That inner breath, home, home, gentle ones. Going home, going home, home. That is your security. This group is magnificent. Always recall the group when in doubt. For what your cells don't remember, there is some cell here that will remember, and the group becomes one. I think your coffee's probably getting cold, but I don't want to leave you either. Actually, oh no, it's only 10:57. Oh. He's not going to be reprimanded. Just for a moment, some of you have worked with the heart as a chakra, and the heart is not a chakra. I ask you to look at the thymus for the moment, please. And I know that some of you are expressing a certain discomfort with the thymus. And just for the moment, we ask the group to come to a reciprocal and higher vibration that is group. And one of the better ways to do it, those who have a developed thymus will assist in us now. The others aren't underdeveloped. We need a very pregnant thymus. So we know where it is. And for some of you, it isn't as soft as one may wish, and it cannot be done in a day, but we expect miracles, and we're going to have them. So look at ourselves as a group. Go into your channel, please, a channel that's becoming so radiant, so lovely. And for those that are finding this thymus a little bit hard, it softens as a youth and hardens because it is not used. It's not used properly. Now, collectively, thoughts are things. Thoughts are things. We look at the collective gestalt. We see the pyramid. We see the vortex of life that is massive now in this room. Call on Metatron, call on the 3Ms, but particularly now because of its balance, Mahatma. Mahatma overshadows all of these energies, so when you call on Vaiwamas, or you call on Sananda, or you call on the Space Command, or you call on anyone, they virtually step down these energies. They work as transformers. Do you understand this? And the key is the thymus. And the softening in this playroom, this wonderful room, this cosmic heart. I would like us to soften as one would plasticine. You see it as a child, as that Christed one, the Christed child. And within this room, we hold lovingly the thymus gland. And you can visualize it as anything that you can soften. You can see that the purity of a child, the purity of something as soft and as loving as a kitten. Oh, wonderful. You really are magnificent. Those who understand, help the one beside them, beside them, beside them, please, as we soften this plasticine. Make it electrical, make it at the aqua blue. You can put on linseed oil or any softening property and make it more and more malleable. And we soften it and we spread it outwards, 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 outwards. As you would a scroll, it becomes the size of our thymus room. And what we are doing is very, very real. We're functioning almost fifth dimensionally. We will be working fifth dimensionally before the day is out, totally. We raise the vibration now into this room, into the fifth dimension, and we know that this is where we are functioning from, for it addresses our potential much more readily. And if we've left the earth has a thymus, it has the same principle of makeup that we do. And that isn't Sedona, for those that don't know. For earth, it's Shambhala, the upper Gobi Desert. So we do it for the earth, and we do it for ourselves, for the wholeness of all that is. And remember, it's an aqua blue, very, very electrical. And you can roll it and touch it, you can spread it out in front of you in this room. It's very, very pliable now. And I endorse that thoughts are things. I endorse working in the beginning of what we call the fifth density, the fifth dimension, that thoughts are things. And it's very, very real to all of us now that thoughts are things, and we soften this thymus, for it is the most important gland as far as spiritual growth is concerned within our endocrine system. All are important, but this is particularly true of the thymus. For it is our cosmic connection, it is our spiritual connection within an atomic body. And we recognize this, and it becomes brighter and brighter and more in harmony with all that is. And the whole room is lit through this crystal. You can see the prism and prism. You can see the mirrors of self. You can see the multiplicity of self as mirrors of all those beings that you have been, that you want to release now, because the emotions are wanting to tell you something different, something you perceive as negative, something you wish to release. And that affects every part of your body, the emotions, not just the solar plexus.